We had the discovery queue to do this morning. I guess before we do, I should talk a little bit about the schedule change. For those of you who may not have seen the message on Discord, the short and long version is we're going to be moving to a 3-day stream week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm going to drop Tuesdays and Thursdays for the next little while because I want to spend some more time making videos. For the last couple of years at this point, which is crazy to say, I've been wanting to make more video content on YouTube. The last year in particular, year and a half, I guess, I started focusing on the VOD channel because that was something I really wanted to get off the ground. I really wanted to figure out, and I wanted to kind of see where it led me. And I've been very happy with it. The VOD channel has been, honestly, has like massively exceeded my expectations for what I thought it would be and whether or not anyone would ever watch the VODs. And it's kind of grown into its own thing. So one of the things I want to do is I want to change a bit of the way that I'm recording. So instead of doing 5 days a week, I want to do 3 streams a week. And I actually want to kind of like break the stream in the middle and start a new VOD so that way we have 6 VODs to upload a week that are only about an hour and a half to 2 hours long. I figure it's a little bit better for approachability for those looking for Let's Plays on YouTube. Certainly when I see something that's like a 5-hour stream on YouTube, I don't want to click it. But if I see something that's an hour and a half, I'm like, okay, for a strategy game, I could maybe spare an hour and a half. And then if it's really good and it hooks me in, I'll watch more of it. I think my best example of this is Potato McWhiskey, who every now and then I end up watching an entire Civ game of his. And I'm like, how did that happen? That was so many hours. Regardless, I'm going to spend Tuesdays and Thursdays now working on edited videos with the hopes of being able to get out a video a week. I don't know how well it's going to go. I don't really know entirely what kind of videos I want to make, but I've realized that I haven't really given myself the space and the time and the bandwidth to mentally figure that out yet. So I've made the executive decision to take 2 days a week to start doing that, to try and figure out what kind of edited videos I want to do more of and start trying to put those out. I'll probably, once I have 4 or 5 of them, I'll start releasing them then. And I suspect we'll probably start with some Age of Wonders content, just seeing as it's kind of the main thing. And I feel like it's got some, I feel like I know what I'm talking about with it. But the videos, they might not all be guides. They might end up being a whole bunch of different stuff. I'm going to try a bunch of different things every week, try to do something a little bit different to see what I like the vibe of a bit more. This is really important for my growth, but it's also really important mostly for my own like artistic practice and what I want to be making in terms of content. So that's going to be kind of the plan moving forward. We're going to try to do more just chatting at the beginning of stream as well. We're going to try to do an hour of just chatting and then the 2 VODs. And then hopefully if there's cool stuff that happens in the just chatting, maybe I can like splice that together into a 7th video for the week. We'll kind of see how that goes. But I'm looking at things that I want to improve on as a streamer and as a creator, both, because I do really love streaming. And I think that this path forward gives me kind of a couple of different opportunities and a bit more time to like work the things that I think need refining the most. So I'm excited for it personally. It should be good. It should be a nice vibe. Only pop the VODs on if I'm working or painting minis, something where I want a bit of background noise that you don't need to focus on. Yeah, second monitor content I think is generally the best thing for VODs, right? And I'm fine with that. Like I often have second monitor content going when I'm doing other things. It depends on kind of how my ADHD is taking over that day. But I do want to make some like small, more curated pieces that I feel a bit more shined and proud of, that I want to work and be like, oh, I'm really happy with that video. And I think I did a lot of cool things with that video. And that I could also show someone and be like, oh yes, this is what I do. Here's a 10-minute video you can watch, instead of being like, here's a 5-hour video you can watch if you want to know what I do. And it's a little of both, right? But I don't know. I like it. But I want to do stuff covering like some of the indie games I get to play, especially if I cover an indie game and then end up playing it off stream, because I'm like, oh, this is really good. I want to explore more of it. I often end up with fun stories in those games that I would like to be able to highlight in an edited video that I could tell a bit of a narrative with. So quick chat, do something cool. I know, right? No, it's no pressure on chat, right? It's actually less pressure on chat. It's a bit more pressure on me, but yeah, anyway, I'm really scared. I'm really nervous about it, but I've been thinking about it for literally years, trying to figure out how to get back to doing videos again. The only answer I can come up with is the executive decision to like cut back on some streams, but I'm trying to do it in a way that like doesn't hurt the channel and doesn't hurt the pod channel. Nothing should hurt the channel. It should only be helping it grow. So I don't want to throw that baby out with the bathwater. That's good, baby. That's good bathwater. Bottle that up, sell it to people online. Boom. In case anybody hasn't seen this, I thought it was pretty cool. Somebody made a full, I suppose, 3D printed muscular system Who knows if it's really 3D printed or how quite it works? Certainly not me. You know I didn't do anything more than just watch the video. I didn't really do any research. But I love the fact that somebody made an android with full musculature. This is the goddamn future right here. This is the AI overlords I'm waiting for. This is the ones I want. I want to see this kind of stuff come to life. I also just love this person's comment. Ridley Scott's going to fill this dude with milk, which I thought was proper. Is this robot creepy? Not getting them in my life? No, probably not. No, I don't know. The leaps we're making in robotics have been pretty good. If we get it, it might be while I'm dying. I can't imagine this being an affordable thing. If we were all to have robot assistants in the future, most of us would have ones that are very almost no movement to them. And then the billionaires would have ones that have full musculature systems. Probably robo boobs or something as well. No, Boston Dynamics is going to try to get this guy on the payroll or take his tech. Yeah, it is a full robotics company. Clone Robotics, I guess they're called. Musculoskeletal super intelligent androids. It is being posted on X, the Everything app. So who knows how true that is. Quite a long name for the new sex droid. Assuming this is real. I think this is real. This looks like real video. And they do say it's a bimanual android, which I assume means it is partly controlled by human, mostly controlled by human. I guess human and code, which what isn't bimanual if that's the case? Wouldn't be some guy in a suit. That's absurd. They've just got a guy only in the torso and head. They've cut off his body. They've shoved the vital organs up, arms severed at the shoulders, just the nerves out connecting to these wired bits. I mean, that'd be a biomechanical feat of engineering in and of itself. Wouldn't be surprised if it's real, but also who cares? The reason we don't make them that way isn't because we can't. No, it's because it probably costs a couple $1 million to manufacture one of these. Also, I imagine the wiring for this must also be a lot. They've clearly only created the upper half right now. They don't have legs done. It's hard to say whether or not these artificial muscles are actually capable of withstanding any kind of weight. So it might be the kind of thing that literally just putting plating on its skin, effectively, might be too much for even the wires to handle. And C, we can't power these kind of robots. And this is the biggest problem with most of these things, is that we still require, generally, massive power cabling to go into these machines. A lot of the Boston Dynamics stuff you see has this crane above it with this huge cable that feeds all the power alongside of commands and everything else into the robot. It's all still got a ways to go, but it's been fun. It's been really fun watching robots like get created in my lifetime. They were on the TV, and now the stuff that we see Boston Dynamics do is the kind of thing we could have only dreamed when we were kids. Drones piloted by humans from the other side of Earth. Yeah, I think that's more likely what we're going to end up having. We won't have robot soldiers, but we will have drone soldiers. I think it's more like squadrons will probably have one robot companion, and that robot companion is going to do things like be the first guy to enter a room. Imagine you have to breach a room, and instead of being a fleshy meat suit full of water that has to go in there, you could just send in the robot covered in steel plates. He takes the first couple of shots, and then everybody else moves in behind him. It makes sense to me. Imagine going through the forest and you see this coming at you. Yeah, that would be spooky. Military would absolutely not send in the $50 million robot instead of Ted, the high school dropout. I mean, yeah, you're probably right. Yes, you're probably right. The robot would likely have... That's the most messed up part. The fact is the robot would likely be some sort of support command unit that would be protected by all the other meat suits. Twisted, but true. All right, I have one last fun news this morning, which was just a stupid thing I saw, which was that Kim Kardashian's kid got her a chain, a diamond-studded chain that says Skibidi Toilet. And I'm just like, oh, this poor mom. It's not often my heart actually bleeds for someone who's a billionaire, millionaire, an idiot in every way. But I just saw this and I was just like, oh, even I can't wish that on a mother. Like, this is such just a, your child got you a gift that they have no idea how to get gifts. And I guess Kanye West gave them way too much money to buy this gift because it's gold necklace with, I believe these are all diamonds, or there's a bunch of diamonds skibbidying the chain.
Okay, and North got me this diamond necklace that says Skibidi Toilet. Wow.
And love North. Because you love Skibidi Toilet.
I do. I do.
Even she's like, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. It's a truly innocent child moment. That child thought they got a good gift that was funny on their understanding of gifts. And they're going to look back on this and die of cringe, which is one of my favorite parts about it. Honestly, I hope that she keeps this and gives it back to Northwest on their 18th birthday, because this would be pretty blingin' if you were wearing this in college. A diamond encrusted Skibidi toilet gold chain. You know that would be a conversation starter. She's coming for Jasper County. Urgh. Child should give a drawing or baked cupcakes. I mean, these are both good choices. I mean, I don't know how old that child is. 11? I don't know. Kids? That seems like an appropriate gift for an 11-year-old to give. Something that says Skibidi Toilet. Not necessarily a diamond-encrusted gold necklace. That seems a bit much for an 11-year-old to give, but why not? When you've got more money than Kanye West, I guess why not? Skibidi Toiletism it's basically, how can I best compare this to our generation? Remember watching things like the G.I. Joe YouTube poops or you'rethemannowdog.com? Skibidi Toilet is sort of a new variation of that humor for their generation, where we judge them and we say, this is absolute nonsense. None of this makes sense. It's not particularly funny, but it fits just the right amount of weird and shock humor for them that separates it from anything that's come before, that it's their own unique voice. So they find it very funny. Skibidi has contextually different meanings, so it's really hard to define. Exactly. I love the slang that Gen Alpha is coming up with. Personally, I find it fascinating. And so many people hate it. So many people think it's terrible. And I understand why. In the same way that when we were growing up and we had the stupidest slang, that the generations above us thought we were morons. I think the study of slang outside of any shared like cultural norm being created is really fascinating. The creation of their own language that they can use. To me, it's really interesting. Lots of time on the internet, but I don't know those references. It's all referred to as brain rot, which is maybe my favorite part. If you look up things like brain rot compilations, you'll just see them filled with nothing but Gen Alpha slang. Skibidi, Ohio, no cap, Rizzler, gooning, all that jazz. While we continue our chats this morning, we can have some kittens up in the background. Is this pleasing? Is this what we need? Some people, they have to play weird Minecraft videos in the background, but no, we can just put on 20 minutes of adorable kittens. No problem. Kids suck, always have, always will. Man, they're our future, whether we like it or not. The kids are the ones who are going to save us. It's not going to be us. Everything changed my mind when I learned that all the founding fathers of America, all the old men you see signing those papers were actually 19 to 24. When I found out that fact, I was like, oh, okay. We already missed our opportunity to fix the world. It's the youth. It's now up to the youth. We just have to believe in them. They only look old because of the wigs. Exactly. Fine line between slang and a mental disorder. Listen, we grew up saying things like, oh, our heckin' big puppers, they're chonking over 9,000. Think about the slang we all grew up saying, and it's so dumb. And if you're too old for that, there's also slang that exists even further back. All the slang from the 80s is ridiculous. And it all mostly comes from whatever the shared cultural touchstones were at the time. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Simpsons, stuff like that. I feel like I could do an entire stream of just adorable kittens. I mean, quite possibly. Perhaps this is how we should end every news section from now on. I'll just throw on a compilation of adorable kittens and we'll let that play in the background. Renting your world from your grandchildren is a Native American proverb. I like that. You're renting your world from your grandchildren. I like it. Oh my God, kitten, you can't go in that dog's mouth. Get out of there. Slang isn't new. Shakespeare had a corner on that market for a time. Yeah, Shakespeare invented so many words, not just slang. I used to do a lot of Shakespeare. I've been in, I don't even know, I think 10 different Shakespeare plays, productions over the years. I've acted in a lot of Shakespeare. And one of my favorite actors that I ever got to work with was a guy who taught Shakespeare at the local university. He was extremely knowledgeable. He was extremely funny. He was the short, curly-haired guy that was just such a nerd. He was such a Shakespearean nerd. He loved it. And my favorite part about him was two parts, and they're interlinked. One, he had terrible road rage. He was the sweetest, nicest guy, but you put him behind a wheel of a car and he was just screaming at everyone that passed. But the important part about this is that he didn't swear. He only swore in Shakespearean. So he'd be yelling at people on the road, but he would be calling them things like coxcombs. But not just a coxcomb. His insults would be 7 or 8 antiquated words all strung together in beautiful poetry whenever he swore at people. And so you very rarely ever heard him actually swear at people unless you were in a car that he was driving. And then you heard him swear the entire journey from like parking lot to parking lot. It was incredible. He was a great colleague. This game just got announced yesterday. It's called Liegecraft, and I am wildly excited for this. This looks like somebody took all of my favorite games and genres, mashed them into one, and hopefully are making a very good game out of it. It is a 4X turn-based with real-time RPG elements. It's basically like Civ meets Crusader Kings meets, I don't know, Manor Lords, maybe? I can't quite tell what the combat is like. The combat might be a little like Age of Wonders. I love a good hex-based 4X. This like Mountain Blade meets Civ. Kind of, yeah. Like it looks really good so far. It's got all these really cool event systems. I'm a little curious what events like that are going to be like breaking into a jail. It looks really good. It looks really good. It is the first trailer I have seen in a long time for a game that I have just been extremely excited for. Little bit of that Crusader Kings dynamic in there. They've clearly taken a lot of homage to Crusader Kings, especially with things like the great feasts that you can have. So there's this cool like blend of RPG style elements. And then it looks like the maps are kind of the combat maps, which is what I think this is. There's sort of a blend of, I guess, like revival colonization sort of did this, where you have the real world map and the combat maps are somewhat made up of that. I'm very, very curious how the combat is. My wallet hates me now, I guess, right? It almost looks like Knights of Honor. It does. It has a lot of Knights of Honor elements to it. They have these great tech trees. This is the decree tree. Then this is the tech tree. And you can see it goes through different periods. There's a full tech tree for late medieval, high medieval, early medieval. So clearly there is a fair bit of tech to run through, especially assuming that you probably don't get the entire tree. Heroes of Might and Magic, there is an element in the trailer that's walk around and collect stuff off the map that definitely reminded me of Heroes of Might and Magic.